What's up guys, it's Mike Dean here. Today we're building a pull-up bar for outdoor use. So let's talk about what you need. These are going to be your supplies. All in all, this should cost you under $100. So what you're going to need first is 2 giant pieces of wood. So we're going to get 2 4x6x12 pieces of treated wood. You're going to need a 1x72-inch steel threaded pipe as your pull-up bar. You're also going to need 2 1-inch flanges, and I'll show you how we're going to hook those up later. A can of white paint, or a can of any paint that isn't going to attract the sunlight. That's completely optional. I'm going to paint my bar because it's going to get a lot of sunlight since it's going to be outside. We're going to need 3 bags of quickcrete, 8 2-inch galvanized steel screws, which we're going to hook the flanges on with, and a drill and a 1 3/8-inch drill bit. These are your supplies you need. That's all you need. It should be about less than $100 to get all this. I got all my things at Lowe's. A quick side note on tools that you also might need: wheelbarrow, a good level, because you're gonna have to level your pull-up bar, and a tape measure, and something to mark the wood with when you're making your holes. Don't forget that. This is what we'll be working with, other than the quickcrete and the wheelbarrow, which is outside. So the first thing I'm gonna do is make a mark 3 inches down. So I'll mark it 3 inches down, and then I'll mark it 3 inches across. This is where I want to make my hole. Now what I've done is I've stacked these on top of each other. Now this isn't long enough to go through both of them, but as I drill, it'll go through far enough to make a mark on the other side, which will be where I drill when I take this off. Now you're gonna want to make sure you hold this straight, because if you mess it up and go in at an angle, you're gonna have a crooked bar. So, we've drilled through both sides, and now we're going to try to run the pipe through. As you see, we've got the bar through both pieces of wood. Had a little bit of trouble. My wood is a bit warped, so it was a little difficult getting it lined up right, but I got it lined up right, and it's even, right where I want it. Now I'm going to take this bar and these flanges outside, and I'm going to paint them with the white paint, and then we'll get this thing in the ground. Alright, so as I was saying, these are your flanges, 1-inch flanges. I'm going to paint along with the pipe. That's basically it. Alright, now we're going to let that dry and we're going to dig the holes. Isn't that right, Una? Ready? Go find the shovel. Alright, so now that you have your spot picked out and your holes drilled, you're going to want to run your pipe through the wood into the back side of this flange. This is going to sit up against the wood, and I'll demonstrate that later, but I wanted to make a note that I was having trouble threading this through backwards. So I got a wire brush and a bit of WD-40, and I scrubbed it until I was able to do that. Before you even run this through, you should make sure these are going to thread in right. Basically, I've got my pull-up bar set up. What I'm going to do now is pre-drill the 4 holes in the flange, and as you can see, the flange is on backwards. So I threaded it through the back. That way it won't turn when you're doing pull-ups. And I'm going to secure the floor flange into the post and do the exact same thing on the other side. So first, I'm going to pre-drill my holes. And I just do this so that it won't split the wood at all. Alright, now I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. Get out of here. Come on. Come on, you. Alright, so we got our pull-up bar here built, and now what I'm going to do is measure it on the bar side from the middle of one post to the middle of the other post, and I'm going to use that to measure how wide I want my holes, my 2 holes that I'm going to put the posts in. So they are 68 inches across, so that's how far I'm going to make the 2 holes. You can use a regular shovel. My neighbor had a post hole digger, so that's what I'm going to use. Either or works, you don't have to have one of these. Got to bury the post 3.5 feet deep. It's not easy. Alright, so I got the first hole dug. I ran into a bit of a problem. There's a lot of hard clay and mud down there when you get about 3 feet in. So I filled up this wheelbarrow with water and I was dumping it in as I was digging, and it really helps. So if you run into this problem, try this. It'll probably help you out a lot. Alright, so to get the posts exactly level the way I wanted them, I actually used some broken up concrete that I just had lying around. So you might have to get creative to actually get the posts to level out the way you need them to. But it's done, and now I'm about to set the concrete. Okay, so a third height of the hole, I filled it with water, and I poured the quickcrete mix in, and I'm kind of just eyeballing it, but instead of mixing up in the barrel, I'm just mixing it up in here. Already starting to harden, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this around, hold it in place. I'm going to check if it's level, and then I'm going to allow this to dry a bit, and then I'm going to fill up the hole the rest of the way. Alright guys, here is the finished product. It's level, it works great. I just tested it out. So I set mine about 100 inches off the ground. You can set it to whatever you need, but I didn't want my feet to be able to touch the ground whatsoever. So I wanted to be able to jump about 4 or 5 inches off the ground to grab the bar. I'm about 6 foot, so this is 100 inches and it's perfect for me. So you will have to adjust it to whatever height you want. You can either dig deeper or just take whatever you need off the bottom. It works great. I love it. I'm very happy with it. Hope this helped you guys, and like and subscribe.